So Hari Om all, we are seeing how this chapter is proceeding, how Bhagwan is proceeding with the teaching. After Arjun surrendered to him completely, asking him for a specific advice as to what he should be doing, he realized his mistake, that even though he knew what his duty was, he was unable to perform it. And so he surrendered as a disciple, and Bhagwan gave him the knowledge from the highest standpoint. So up to verse 30, that is what we saw, where he spoke from the absolute standpoint, where actually there is no death, there is no birth, etc., no change. That is the substratum. But it is not very easy to grasp that knowledge at that level when the student is not at that level. And Arjun is not at that level where he could have grasped that highest standpoint. And therefore, Bhagwan then came right down to his level and told him that as a Kshatriya, his duty is to fight. He's fighting a righteous war. And the minimum that he should do is do his duty, and then heavens are guaranteed for him. And whatever may be the reason for doing the duty, people will laugh at you or say bad something ill about you, etc., whatever may be the reason for doing the duty, but you must do the duty, and then heavens are guaranteed for you because of that. So after having said that, then Bhagwan changes his tune a little bit, saying that you do your duty, same duty, nothing specific. Don't go looking for some other work, your own duty, but do it with an equanimous mind. Sukha dukhe samekrutva. Having made joy and sorrow, happiness and sorrow equal, means your mind should look at both of these opposites in an equal way, in sama. So samatha being the antidote for mamata, which was the original problem in chapter 1. This is what Bhagwan is telling him. And then Bhagwan there also said, you will not incur sin. What does it mean? Means that now your goal is higher. If you have a higher goal, then you have to do something more. There is, if you want to just graduate from high school, then okay, you do a certain amount of studying. But if you want university graduation, then a little bit more studying is required. And if you want to even go further into doctorates and stuff like that, specialization, then even more hard work is required. So that is how it is. You want the heavens, you'll get the heavens, you do the duty. But you need to go beyond the heavens. There is something beyond the heavens which is there, which is a point of no return. And that's where I want you to be. And that is why I'm telling you that while doing your duty, maintain an equanimous mind. After having explained that, Bhagwan explained the other, then Bhagwan said, gave the principles of karma yoga. So what you do is your own karma you do, but you change the method and the attitude of doing every karma. And the method and attitude, method is without likes and dislikes, without attachment, and attitude is with a surrender to the Lord. And I told you, Lord can be also country, can be guru, can be your family, anything other than you. So that can be, and that's how you will convert every karma into karma yoga. And why should I even convert karma into karma yoga is because that is the only way to purify the mind. There is no other way in which mind can be purified. So, and why do I need a purified mind? Only then will you understand that absolute knowledge that I'm giving you. So it is moksha marga. Karma yoga is a moksha marga, a path to moksha. It is not moksha. It will not give you direct liberation. After having explained that, Bhagwan talked about, in 2-3 verses, he talked about those who only talk about the flowery language of the Vedas. Flowery languages where a material goal is promised in return for some action to be done. And those people think that that material gain is the be all and end all of life, up to the heavens, including the heavens. So then, okay, if you want this, then you do this. And then they say, oh, if you do this, then you'll get this much. If you do this much, you'll get this much. So that's that flowery language that the Vedas talk about. So then Bhagwan explained in the next 2-3 verses that there are these people who are going after material benefits, material gains, and okay, fine, then they just do that, but they're not going to get anything higher, any higher gain. And therefore now in verse 45, which I told you is a very, very important verse, Bhagwan is giving a specific instruction to Arjun. He spoke about those people. Now Bhagwan is telling him, you don't be one of those people. This is what Bhagwan is now telling Arjun. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal with the three attributes. Be you about these three attributes, gunas, O Arjuna, free yourself from the pairs of opposites and ever remain in the sattva, goodness, freed from all thoughts of acquisition and preservation, and be established in the self. So there are 5 instructions here. The first quarter of the first line, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. That is one aspect that we have to understand. Then the next instruction is Nistraigunyo Bhavar, Bhava to become. So Arjun, you go above the 3 gunas. Nis is the prefix which says no, without. So you go beyond the gunas. This is first instruction. Second is Nirdvandvo. This Bhavarjuna goes with all the other words. So Nirdvandvo Bhavarjuna. That Bhava Arjuna is going with everything, okay? So Arjuna, you become. What do you become? You become first Nistraigunyo, go beyond the gunas. Second, what you become? Nir. See, nir prefix is negative. Don't. So go beyond the dvandva, the dualities. Dvandva is duality. So go beyond. Then nitya sattvastaha. Nitya, always be in sattva, in the state of sattvic, in a sattvic state. That's the third instruction. Nir yoga kshema. Nir again. So do not worry about yoga and kshema. And we'll see what that is. And then the fifth instruction is be atmavan. So we have to see these 5 instructions, what they are. Because Bhavarjuna is for us also. That is for us. So first we see Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. The Vedas are full of 3 gunas. But here, even if you read Gurudev's first line in the first, here in this stanza, by the term Veda, we must understand it to mean only the Brahmana portion of the Vedas, no doubt. Okay, so the way this quarter is to be understood is the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas, the Vishaya, the subject matter of the Karmakanda portion of the Vedas is the 3 gunas. That is how it should be understood. When the word Veda is used, there can be a misunderstanding because Vedas are divided into 4 parts, I've told you. The mantra portion, the Brahmana portion, or the Karmakanda portion, which is the bulkiest portion. The third is the Aranyakas, and the fourth is Vedanta or Upanishads. Now, Upanishads are never, they are talking about the absolute standpoint, which is beyond the gunas. The Om in our chart is beyond the gunas. Gunas only start at the V. So beyond that, there are no gunas. Now, Upanishads are talking about Om. So how can the subject matter of the Vedanta be the 3 gunas? It can't be. Neither is it the topic of the Aranyakas, nor of the mantra portion, which is in the beginning. So this gunas is only coming in this Karmakanda portion, or which is also known as the Brahmana portion, which is the bulkiest portion of every Veda. And the subject matter of that is anything in this material world that you want, we have an karma for you. We have an action for you. Okay. So you want child, do this yajna. You want this, you do this yajna. Up to the heavens. So all these goals, they are all finite. That is the point to be remembered. In Vedanta, the goal is infinite. Whereas in the Karmakanda portion, all the goals that it talks about many, many goals. And for every single desire, for every single goal, there is a yajna there to be done. You want heaven, do Agnihotra. You want it. We see in Ramayana, King Dashrath did the yajna to get the sons. We see in Mahabharata, Draupadi's father, he did yajna to have a son who could kill Dronacharya. So you could do yajnas for anything, and that is the portion. Now you might think that, oh, but nowadays who knows what yajna is and who does all these yajnas? No, no, no. And you might think that this is not a relevant, that there's no relevance in the modern days. But please, yajna we are also doing. Don't think of yajna as a fire ritual. The hard work that we are putting in. The Olympic athlete who wants the gold medal, how much hard is he or she working? The mother who wants a child and can't get it in the natural way, IVF, how much work she's putting in, how much tapas is that mother doing, the father doing, all others in the family too, when they want that child that badly. So when there is a goal which you want very badly, it may be a promotion, bonus, if I was passing an exam, don't you put in the hard work? That is yajna. And it falls under karma kanda. Why? Because all those goals are finite. And especially in the material world, you get one thing, immediately there is another goal up there. Nobody can say. Way back, I remember our CEO, the Royal Bank CEO, he said, I made only $2 million last year, but my counterpart in the US made 4. So, so even that is not enough for him. So no matter what goal is there on this material plane, there will be something higher. So there will be more and more hard work which will be required. And that is the portion of this Veda which talks about these things. So that's why Bhagavan is saying Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. So the Vedas, the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas are full of these. And okay, so what is this gunas to do with action? Because please remember that action cannot happen without gunas. Action is nothing. Karma or action is nothing but an interaction of the 3 gunas. That's it. That is it. Okay, and that's why Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. That's why he's saying the wish is that gunas, how these gunas will interact and how that action will come out, and then how that action will give you a particular goal. And that goal, no matter what goal it is in this world, is finite. It will end at some time, and you're back again doing action. So you are caught in that cycle of action, result, experiencing the result, more action, more desires. So this cycle you can never break. When you're in that this thing that I want this, so I'll do this. I want this, I'll do this. Because this never ends. The minute you get this, there is a this plus 1. The minute you get this plus 1, there is a this plus 2 sitting there. Plus 3, plus 4, plus 5. So it never ends. And that's what Bhagavan is talking. So that's why Bhagavan is telling Arjun, you don't be one of those things who is aspiring for this finite goal. It may be the heavens, but it is finite. It is a point of return. You don't be one of those. That's why this first instruction is there. Nistray gunyo bhavarjana. Rise above the actions. Rise. Now here, rise above the action, you might wonder, but Bhagavan is asking him to fight. So what do you mean, right? Rise above ego and egocentric actions driven by ego and egocentric desires. So rise above actions through action. So now we have to understand this. Rise above action through action means what? So action is inevitable. Man cannot live without acting. Okay, why? Because there are the gunas. They will not let you sit down. They will not let you sit quietly. They will push you to act. So act you must. Then how do you act is the method and the attitude with which Bhagavan is given. So when you do action, every action with that attitude, it will help you to go beyond action. Why? Because the mind will become more and more purified. As the mind purifies, it will calm down. As it calms down, as it quietens down, the intensity of the desire for those objects will reduce. Why will the intensity reduce? Because the reality given to those objects, to those goals, will reduce. Because as the mind gets purer, the divinity shines forth more. You get an understanding of what am I doing? I'm running after these things. How much will I run? How much will I get? And even if I get, when is it going to go? It'll go away someday. So is there a point? That doesn't mean that you don't act for your goals, okay? You do plan out your work, you do act, but add that dimension of equanimity so that you act, there is a result in mind, but if that result doesn't come, you remain equanimous. So this is what is meant by going beyond action through action, because going beyond action is not possible in any other way unless you have that high, extremely high level of dispassion, which we don't have, which Bhagwan Shankaracharya had, Raman Maharshi, all the great spiritual masters had that level of dispassion in which they could give up the karma. But we don't have that. So that dispassion also will come as more and more discrimination comes, the dispassion will come. How will the discrimination come? With the quietened mind, with the purified mind, with the strong mind. So the more purified the mind, the more discrimination will come, more discrimination, more dispassion will come. There will be strength to give up that action. This is how it works. So this is how you go beyond karma through karma. Doing karma itself, you have to go beyond karma. There is no other way. That is the way to purify the mind. Now here, so if we take the gunas separately, what is the instruction for us here also? This is also it's instruction for us that we have to do karma, but we must try and do it with a particular bent of mind. And that is how we'll go beyond. The three gunas, as we know, we have talked about them many times, sattva, rajas, and tamas. We have talked about it in chapter 1. Tamas is attachment to inert objects. So that attachment to inert objects must be reduced. I'm not saying it can be given up right away, especially for those of you who are, still in young, have young children, etc. It is not a matter of giving up right away, but at least reduce. Attachment to the one thing is hoarding. How people two, three things of mixer, two, three things. How many clothes? How many this? How many shoes? Right? Hoarding, that is. So what you need, yes, you need, but beyond the need, if you have anything, then it is falling under greed. Lobha it is, and that sort of hoarding should be controlled. That attachment to it, the thought that if I don't have this, my life is useless. I don't have that pair of shoe, means what does life have any meaning? That notion should be given up. You can desire that whatever object, but don't think that your life is finished without it. Your life will go on. Life will go on, whether you have it or not. But your mind only is telling you all these things, and your mind is then agitated. So attachment to inert objects, rajas is indulging in those inert objects, because rajas is the one that wants you to enjoy. That is coming from rajas. When I want to, go out and watch movies and, go to a restaurant and eat, and all those feelings that are, coming in your mind are a manifestation of rajas. So tamas is attachment to inert objects, and rajas is enjoying those objects. So nistray gunyo, going beyond the gunas, means reducing the attachment. Automatically that will reduce the attachment to enjoy. And sattva is trying to remain free of desires. What is free of desires? So desire is a thought. So you cannot remain free of thought. There will be a thought, and it may be a desire. It should not bother you. That is remaining in sattva. So as you reduce tamas and rajas, sattva will automatically increase. So you will have a desire and you'll say, okay, I do want to do this, but okay, when the time comes, it will happen, or I will try for it, but it's okay if I don't get it. And that is a sattvic bent of mind. And so nistray, here he's saying you have to go even beyond sattva. We'll see that, because then the next instruction, nitya sattva. So we need to go beyond sattva also, ultimately. Why? Because om is beyond sattva. The whole goal is to reach that om. And please remember that om in the chart, in our BMI chart, is beyond the V. Only up to V there is gunas. After that, there is no gunas. So Bhagwan is telling Arjun, you don't be one of those people who is, people have that attitude. If I do this, what will I get? If I do that, what will I get? One person was asked, will you work for the mission? He said, what will be my commission? You can't, every single thing you can't be looking for commission. Don't. Because that is in the external. No matter how much commission you get, it'll finish. So why don't you go for something permanent? This is why Nistraya Gunya Bhavad. The next one is, next instruction is Nirdvandvaha. Dvanda is duality. Dvanda also means fight, right? Dvanda Yuddha, you know, they used to have. Dvanda also means fight. So when he says Nirdvandva, go beyond the pairs of opposites. What is going beyond the pairs? Those of you who were in chapter 14. Udasina, the Gunatita Purusha is Udasina, Bhagavan said. Uta Asina. So going beyond is Uta. Uta is above. Asina is sitting. So you sit above the pairs of opposites. So you are above Sukha and you're above Dukkha. So here Dvandva, so it includes all the pairs. So Labha, Jaya, hot, cold, everything. But the world is nothing but pairs of opposites. Please remember that. Okay, if there is day, there will be night following. If there is cold, there'll be hot. If there is rain, there'll be sunshine. If there is autumn, there'll be spring. If there is summer, there'll be winter. So the world is nothing but pairs of opposites, and you cannot change the world. There's no way anybody can change the world. So the best thing is to be ut asina, sitting above them. So okay, so spring came, happy, happy, happy. Okay, fall came, now leaves are, okay, happy, happy, happy. That's the same instruction as sukha dukhe same krutva. Make them equal, sit above them. Don't crave for one over the other, because you can't get it only. So that is some impossible feat that you're asking for. You're asking for a coin with only one side of it. You say you don't want the other side. It is not possible only. Now, all our life we are doing fight for that. So this dvanda, don't fight with the world. That is another aspect of it. Dvanda. That's why that word is there. Dvanda, duality. So we are constantly fighting with the dualities. Why are we fighting? Because I want only one. I don't want the other one. I want only sukha. I don't want dukkha. I'm unwilling to take that. So I'm fighting. Constant fighting. Now, constant fighting is doing what? It's creating agitation in my mind. And what is that agitation doing? It is making the mind impure. And then the mind is not free to listen to these higher concepts, because it's constantly bothering you in the mind. Anything that's bothering in the mind, even, you know, when you're cooking something, your mind is very agitated or worried about something wrong happens there. Don't you agree? Simple example. When the mind is disturbed, how that action will be perfect that comes out? So, and we are getting disturbed about things which we can't change. There is a thing that's saying, you know, oh Lord, give me the wisdom to know what I can change and what I cannot change. And there is you know, there is, I don't know, you may have heard that.
And to know the difference between those.
Correct. Correct. Give me the wisdom to know
the difference.
Yeah. So that's a very powerful saying. So that's why we are telling you that the world is nothing but the duality. So stop fighting and accept. That is nirdvandva. Accept. Okay, today it's raining in Vancouver. Okay, accept. Raining. Tomorrow it will be sunshine. Okay, fine. It will be sunshine. If rain is there, it's not going to remain full all the months. It will go sometime. This is how you accept. So don't fight with the world, because you're never going to win. You take up a fight with the world, there's no way you're going to win. That is how the world is. So understand and then accept. And then what will happen? Why should I accept? There'll be peace. The mind will be at peace. The mind will be quiet. Why should my mind be quiet? Let it be agitated. Okay, then you can't understand this knowledge. I don't want to understand. Then there's no point you attending class. Okay? You want that peace, that eternal peace that we are looking for. That is why. Nitya Sattvastha. Now here there might be a little bit confusion, because first he said, in the first line he said Nistraya Gunyo, rise above Sattva, and now he's saying you stay Nitya Sattva. So Nitya, always stay in Sattva. So this we should understand. Unless you come up to Sattva, you cannot go beyond. You cannot go from Tamas into straight Nistraya Gunya. You can't. Even from rajas, you cannot do that. It is like skipping the rung of a ladder. Tamas, even tamas to sattva is not possible. From tamas, you must come into rajas. You must do some activity. When you're feeling very lazy and you're procrastinating, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Don't try and sit and read at that time. That is not the time. So that is the time when you say, no, 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 let me, do some action. Let me go for a walk. Let me clean my house. Let me do vacuuming. Let me do laundry. Whatever work is there. That way that rajas will dissolve. And then you come into sattva. And then what Bhagavan is saying, you have to go beyond sattva. But to go beyond sattva, you have to remain in sattva. Come up to sattva and then remain there. See, even in the Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga Yoga is there. The last three are Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. So up to Dhyana is self-effort. Up to dhyana, the seventh stage. But between dhyana and samadhi, it's only grace that works. So this is what Bhagavan is saying. You come up to that seven. That he's not talking about the stage, but you come up to that sattva. You stay in sattva, and I will give you the Vishuddha sattva. We saw in Vivek Chudamani this Vishuddha sattva. Yes, Vishuddha, extremely pure sattva, is nice through going beyond the gunas. Extremely pure sattva is realization, Vishuddha sattva. But Vishuddha sattva you cannot come to unless you're Shuddha sattva first. And Shuddha sattva doesn't mean 100% sattva. It means 95, 97% sattva with only maybe 3-4% of rajas and tamas. So you have to come to a stage there, and then you remain there. Nitya sattvasta. So remain in a state where the desires are not bothering you anymore, where the dualities are not bothering you anymore. Nothing should have the power to bother you. If something is bothering you, something is creating agitation in your mind, that thing is more powerful than you. Think. If that desire is bothering you, that desire is more powerful. The object, if you constantly think of that object, oh, I don't have that, that means that object you're the slave of that object. That's why Bhagavan is saying here, Nitya, this very, very important verse, and in my father's handwriting is written imp and goal. This is the goal. This is what we should try. Okay, Nitya Sattvasta. So this is what is meant by staying in Nitya Sattva. And how you increase sattva is just by reduction of rajas and tamas. They're not available in the market. Let me go buy some more sattva. Let me, not buy rajas. Unfortunately, you can't do that. Otherwise, rich people would have bought more rajas. You can't. So what you do is you reduce your attachment to inert objects. You reduce your attachment to enjoy. I want to enjoy. It's really hard. I see some people who are like so aged, and they want to socialize, and they want to party, and they want to talk, and they can't. And it's hard because there's no dispassion at all. So there's no way that they can ever get this knowledge. So that's what it is. So now nir yoga kshema, these two words are very important. They will come again in chapter 9. Bhagavan actually makes a promise. Aham vahami yoga kshema vahamyaham. I will carry your yoga and carry your kshema. So what is yoga? Yoga is that which I don't have. I don't have a spouse. I don't have a child. I don't have a house. I don't have a job. I don't have money. I don't have a car. I don't have this, that, n number of things. So yoga is that which I don't have, and kshema is that the protection of the things that I have. So there are two things that we are constantly running after in life. Think about it. First of all, I don't have money, so I need money. Then what do I need? I need a degree. I need a university. So then I got a job. Then I had money. Then now I have money. I need somebody to share it with. So now I want to get married. Then I want a house because, now there'll be kids. Now I need a bigger house. Now I need a car. Now I need a this. So our life is a constant struggle for yoga. I want this. I want that. Okay. Now you got it. Oh, I better have an alarm system for the house because somebody can break in. My car should be alarmed, otherwise somebody can break in. So then what happens is, whatever that you have achieved, you need to protect it. Mutual funds, I hope they don't crash. You know, like now that worry starts. First it was worrying about getting it, now you got it, now you're worried about protecting it. So this life is a constant battle of yoga and kshema. And what Bhagwan is saying here is, you become nir. Nir means what? Means without means what? You don't worry about your yoga and kshema. I will worry. This is in 9th chapter. He says, he promises. There is a promise there. Aham Bahami. I will carry the load of your yoga and your kshema. You keep your mind at peace. And what does that mean? Means he will provide for whatever that we need, but not our greed. That is where we fall. Because need is provided, but I want more. I want more. I want more all the time. And then when we don't get that more, we say, oh, God is so partial. This is what Bhagavan is saying. Whatever you need, I will provide for that. I will. You don't worry. So why again not worry? It's keep your mind at peace. Why should I keep my mind at peace? For the knowledge. If you want to gain the spiritual knowledge, the first thing to come under control has to be your mind. Has to be your mind. Otherwise you can't. If the mind is constantly agitating, cogitating, worrying. So that's why here he's saying Niryoga Kshema Bhavarjuna. Bhavarjuna goes with everything. You don't worry. Don't worry. I will take care of it. We have to have faith in God. That requires strong faith. Strong faith comes from a pure mind. The more impure the mind, the less there will be faith. This is how it goes. Everything is in the mind. So as you purify the mind, your faith will increase. Why will not God take care of me? God is taking care of me. He's Sarva Shaktiman. He can do anything. Even in little things, you must have that faith. And when you really sincerely ask with that pure mind, you will get it also. But don't ask for what you greed, what you're greedy of. That you will never get. But if you need it, it will come. And you have to try it out yourself. I have tried it out. I have gotten it, right? That's why I know. That's why I'm saying with conviction. So that's why Nir-Yoga Kshema is possible. Possible. Leave it to him now. He knows the big picture. We only know the small picture. Leave it. So that's Nir-Yoga Kshema. And then Atmavan Bhavarjuna. So this Atmavan word is also important. Van we have seen is possessor. We have seen Bhagavan, and we've also explained Balavan and Shaktiman, etc., etc. So possessor of Atma here doesn't quite jive. So Atmavan Bhava means remain in a state of Atma, remain like Atma. Now, when we say remain like Atma, what is Atma like? We have to know, na? If somebody tells me you be like somebody, that I should know how that person is. Maybe you should dress like so and so. But I don't know that so and so. Though how do I know what kind of dress that person is wearing that I should be dressed? So I have to know. So what is Atma? Atma is that Satchitanand principle where the gunas are in perfect equilibrium. So when he says Atmavan Bhava, you remain in a state of perfect equilibrium, endowed with knowledge. Because when if I say only perfect equilibrium, a person who doesn't care, who's callous, will say, who cares what happens to the world? Who cares what happens to it? Therefore, perfect equilibrium endowed with knowledge. Endowed with knowledge means with the knowledge that Bhagwan is taking care of everything, my yoga kshema, I will remain, and as the more I develop sattva, the more Atmavan I will become. Everything rests on that sattva guna. The more sattva, the reduction, the more I reduce rajas tamas, sattva, the more I increase sattva, this Atmavan will become easy. Remain in a state of equilibrium. Samata. Because why? In chapter 9 again, Bhagwan will say, Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. Brahma is nirdosha, without any faults, without any defect. Because you know why? We blame God. Don't we? When sorrow comes, God did this to me. We never say that, oh, God did this, gave me this lottery ticket. I won this lottery ticket. No, I went and bought. That's why I won. But the minute sorrow comes, God, you gave this to me. It doesn't work like that. That means you are not nirdvandva. You accept the good and consider it as your doing, and you don't want to accept the bad and you blame it on God. That's why Bhagavan says, Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. Brahma is sama. So if you want to be like Brahman, you also have to be sama. And if you want to be sama, then equanimity of mind is extremely important. So these are the 5 instructions that I hear. The Vedas, the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas are talking only about the gunas. Why? Because it is only in the realm of gunas, in the realm of duality, that karma happens. And this Karma Kanda portion, it talks only about finite results. It doesn't talk about infinite. The infinite result, there is only one. There cannot be infinite results. Finite results, plural. Because why? There are many, many goals which are finite. So little, 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 little. You can have many, many finite goals. But if you say infinite results, then one infinity and another infinity, then it can't be like that. Infinite is only one. And Vedanta only talks about that one goal. That's why Bhagavan in earlier verse, he said, Vyavasayitmika buddhi. When your buddhi is going outward, there are n number of goals to be achieved. And one goal achieved, it's not enough. It's never enough for the person. But if you start going inside, introverted, do karma just for purification. There's only one mind. There is only one goal, purification of mind. That's it. So no matter what karma, how many karmas you do, goal is only one, purify the mind. But if you do that karma for outside result, there are many, many outside results, finite results. So that's why he says, this is what the Vedas are talking about. The Karma Kanda portion is only talking about these finite goals. You don't be the one to go after finite goals. You go for the infinite. How do you go for the infinite? You rise above the gunas. Remain in sattva. Don't take up a fight with the world, because you will never win. You will never win. Dvanda, fight. So because the world is a pair of opposites. Ut asina, sit above, rise above the gunas, rise above the dualities, which means make them equal. You go up and you make them equal. Stay there, stay in sattva. Okay, what about I will stay in sattva, Bhagwan? What about my yoga and Shema? You don't worry, I will take care of it. See, Bhagwan is so compassionate. Don't worry, don't worry. I will give you, I will provide what you need. I will protect what you have. It's my promise. You don't worry. You don't worry. And then be Atmavan. Stay in a state of equilibrium, endowed with knowledge. Okay? Any questions? Everybody okay? All right. So let's proceed.
Jayaji Shivaram had a question.
Yeah.
Jayaji, why does it start with Nistray Gunyo and end with Atmavan? Is that a logical flow?
You can take it as that. There are 5 instructions, because suddenly you cannot be in a position of equilibrium. Think. He started with the absolute knowledge. Didn't Arjuna understand?
Correct.
So where he went, to the lowest rung he went. And from there he's climbing up, right?
Right.
So try to rise above the first karma, because the first thing is we are doing karmas constantly for finite goals. That's the first instruction. Stop that. Stop, not for finite goal you have in mind. You act, but your final goal should be purity of mind. We are in the Karma Kanda portion here, but not Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga portion.
Correct.
We're not talking about knowledge. So you this thing. Now, for attaining purity, what do you need? You need to accept the dualities, because otherwise you're constantly fighting with the world. Okay? And then what you do, when you remain equanimous towards the duality, you can stay in sattva. When you stay in sattva more and more, as your faith will increase in God. that yeah, God will give me what I need. If I need it, if it is meant for me, it'll come to me.
And eventually that leads to Nistraigunya, Jayaji. That is what it says, right? If you really do start Nirdvandvo, Nitya Sattvasto, Niryoga Kshema, the Atmavan is when you are actually Nistraigunya.
Yeah, then again, but first Nestra Guna is you have to start conquering tamas and rajas first, na?
Oh, okay. So it's action with action, removing action with action.
Because how you'll go Nestra Gunya? You'll go to Atmavan. See, okay, this instruction is not meant for a realized person. The one who is already realized, who is a Dhira Purusha, who is a Pandit, who is a Manishina, that the words Sita Pradnya word will come, he is already Nistray Gunya. He is not even, he knows the world is unreal. What fight he will take up with something unreal, with an illusion? Do we fight with a tiger in the waking state? Will I fight with the tiger which came in my dream? It's for him, it's like that. This is real for us. That's why I'm saying this is in the portion of karma. This is karma is always in duality, and duality from the highest standpoint is not real. But we are in duality, and we think that this duality is real. So then these are the instructions that we get.
Are we also told how to realize, because it's not just a simple stage like Jayaji, like swimming, right? Everyone says I know swimming. But somebody is swimming in ocean, somebody is swimming a lake, somebody is just dipping in water. Everyone believes that they know swimming. Similarly, when you talk of Nirdvandvo, when you start getting into that evolving, how do you understand, Jay? Is there a stages? Is that explained somewhere later?
Peace of mind, na? How much are you at peace? Only you can tell. It's not like a fever that somebody else can tell, put a thermometer and tell you you're at high fever, low fever. How much is your own mind at peace? That's why it is self-analysis, introvertedness. You watch your own mind.
Okay.
Are you upset? Suddenly it starts raining. Are you upset? Are you okay? What are you? That'll tell you. That'll tell you where you are on the ladder. If there are more agitations, you are on the lower rung of the ladder. The less agitations, you're climbing up. Okay?
Thank you, Jay.
How much excited are you getting? Yes.
Jayaji, Hari Om. There are some places I see explicit instructions by Bhagavana that you do this, that, and the next thing you do this. So here we have clear set of instructions to go to a state of mind which is relatively balanced and relatively pure, right? Which will potentially allow us to go to the next level. Do we have in Bhagavad Gita those instructions? What happens beyond this level?
You mean at the absolute level?
So right now we see that, okay, we want to become Nishkam Karma. We want to become neutral with gunas. We want to just submit to the ultimate reality and become very neutral, right? I mean, I see potentially this as thinking it from a utopian world perspective. Suppose everybody follows this, right? We are looking at sort of a system in which everybody is a cogwheel which is operating. The system is at its neutral equilibrium, nice and fine. What happens beyond that, right? That's something, I appreciate this, that we have to remain and go to this state. But what happens? This seems like a journey, not an ultimate goal, right? So clarity of mind lets you go there. Now, what is there and how do you reach that last final piece is sort of not coming out through this set of instructions.
Because I told you that you can only go up to dhyana. After that, it is the grace.
Okay.
You have to let the grace work.
Okay.
You just allow. You open the blinds and are you telling, okay, sunlight now come in? Are you telling anything to the sun? No, you're only opening the blinds. You bother only about opening the blinds. You don't worry about the sun coming in.
Okay.
You only bother about removing the clouds. Then do you need a flashlight? So
Okay.
that part you do, na? Do see what happens.
Right.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Sure. Thank you.
Jayaji,
Yes.
I wanted to ask, when you said in the last part, Atmavan, the gunas have to be equilibrium. Now, what do you mean by equilibrium?
It
How
doesn't mean that
much
they should.
percentage of the gunas?
Yeah. So equilibrium means not 33%, 33.5 sattva, 33.
Exactly.
No.
That was mathematics.
No, that's maths. That's correct also, 33.5% or whatever. No, what we said is, in the pure consciousness, they are in like a dormant state, all of them. See,
Okay.
because we have to go beyond sattva also, please remember.
Yes.
Okay, so none of them is getting predominant.
Okay.
That is what is to be achieved. When sattva is required, the gunatita purusha, that's why we saw, he doesn't get upset when I told you the example, when I went through tamas and then I got upset that I was tamas. That should not happen. That acceptance should come that, okay, there was tamas predominant, so something happened. There was rajas predominant, so something happened. Sattva, and when you reach that state, you are in a state of equilibrium. So whichever one comes, you are same. Tamas comes, you are same. Tamas goes, you are same. Rajas comes, same. Goes, sattva comes, sattva also is going to go. The gunatita purusha knows that.
Okay.
That is what is meant by, and that's why endowed with knowledge.
Yeah. Okay.
Have the knowledge. So understanding has to be there.
So you just forget that these gunas are working, and you just remain in your
remain equanimous.
Equanimous.
Understand you forgot something. Then now that we have studied, then we, especially to me, so it comes right away. Oh God, that was tamasic. What you did. I turned at there was yesterday only, from Victoria, I turned on 49th. It was a green light for me, but then it was a walk signal for the pedestrians. And there was one person on this side and one person on that side, and I actually pushed through. It means they were there, there was safe distance. But then I thought, no, Jaya, that was wrong.
Correct.
Because there's a walk signal, so they get preference over my car. But I had a green light. I just saw the green light and I was in a rush, so I turned. I was in a rush, so I turned, right? And then the thought came that, oops, that wasn't correct. So at least there was a stage probably when the thought even wouldn't have come that I did something wrong.
Correct.
I would have gone and said, I had the green light. Who cares? No. I do care. I know I made a mistake, but I knew that they were both safe. There was nothing, they were not in anywhere close to my car. Other guy was on that side, and this woman, she stood because she realized that I was turning. So she just stood quietly. I thought, oh, thank God. So, so that's what, okay. Let's just read this verse. This is a very simple verse. I'll quickly explain because the next verse is extremely important, 47. यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः. To the Brahmana who has known the self, all the Vedas are of as much use as is a reservoir of water in a place where there is flood everywhere. So an example has been given. Now, some of you might find it difficult, those who have not grown up in India. In India, we have little villages where there is only one source of water, which is there is only one well. So those who are from India or born in India, grown up in India will know this. So there is only that one well. So that well is very important to everybody, is it not? Because that is the only source of drinking water. So there will be a lineup for that one well to pull water. Now what has happened is, in that village, a whole flood has come. And the whole thing is, full of water. Will that reservoir of water, that well, will it have the same importance when the flood is there, when the whole village is flooded with water? That one small reservoir, will it have any importance? It's like, say, I have $1 million. I don't, but suppose, what is there in, Manoraja. Now, what is available for $1,000? Am I worried? I have $1 million. $1,000 nothing, $5,000 nothing. So when I have that whole big, these small things, will they bother me? So now what he's saying is, to the here Brahmana means not the Varana Brahmana. Brahmana is the one who has realized Brahman. That is the meaning of, so he's a realized master here. So the one who has realized the self. See, all these karmas that I do only for happiness. Anybody doing anything for sorrow? I want sorrow. Let me go get a degree. Let me go get a job. Nobody is doing anything for sorrow. Everybody is doing for happiness. So now this Brahmana, this person who has realized the self, has realized that he himself is the source of happiness. Is he going to go for these little joys and pleasures? That's why he says there, all the Vedas are of as much use as is a reservoir of water. That small well, the Vedas, which are Brahmana, I told you, Brahmana portion is the bulkiest. There are huge numbers of karmas. Anything that you want in this material world, you go to that portion of the Vedas, it will give you a karma to do. It will give you an action to do. So many actions are there. So many. But this realized master has got infinity. Is he going to go after these little finite goals? This is what Bhagavan is saying here. Okay. So we'll stop here. Next verse again is another heart of this chapter, most often quoted verse. Karmanye vadikaraste. So that is, and it's also important because it is like a diamond. Just as a diamond has many facets, this verse has many facets. We will take all the facets. One of them is how this is to be told to the students. So Balvihar teachers, also this is very important, how this verse will, and in my father's writing again in red, imp is there, so important. How you'll tell the children, how parents can utilize this verse for their own children, how teachers can teach Bhagavad Gita to children, how there is management techniques in this. All these facets are there. So we will take it up next time.